What's going on, everyone? Moose here, Airguns of Michigan, and today I want to talk about some of the things that I think are very important for all airgunners to own. Some of these things may be a little bit airgun type specific, but realistically they cover the majority of whether you're shooting a break barrel, a CO2, or a PCP airgun. The majority of these things are probably going to lean a little bit more towards the PCP, but all these tools are kind of important. So I'm just going to grab some of my stuff and kind of go over it. First and foremost, if you are planning on working on your air guns, good quality tools are very important. Finding the cheapest set of Allen wrenches is not a good idea. Finding somebody that has good quality equipment is a great idea. So, you know, whether it's your Allen wrenches or your other wrenches or whatever you're going to use or whatever you may need, make sure that they're good quality so that, you know, you don't necessarily strip out Allen heads or have issues like that. This set here is Husky, and they actually have grooves cut into them to help improve the grip in the Allen itself. You can get these, I think this came as a set for both standard and metric, and lifetime warranty. You know, obviously, you know, specialty tools like the C1 removal tool for the FX impact, pretty important to have as well. Some Teflon tape, good to have just in case you get a leak or two here and there. A little bottle of silicone oil, just 100% silicone oil. This is something that I use in my PCPs to keep my internals lubricated. What I'll do is probably after, I don't know, 20 fills of my air gun tank, I'll take the silicone oil and put a couple of drops into my fill port, just like 2 drops literally, and then I'll fill my gun. It just helps to keep all the internals lubricated and, you know, up to par. Don't have to overdo it. You don't want to overdo it. You definitely don't want stuff getting sticky in there, but, you know, like I said, 2 drops every 20 fills, it'll keep rinsing and repeating itself. A good quality airgun safe cleaner is really important. I use Super Quick Clean guns. This stuff I have found is absolutely amazing. I used Balistol for years, just recently switched over to this, and I have had outstanding results. That's another video you guys have already seen. A good quality pull-through bore cleaner. You know, I use the Patchworm kit. I use their patches or their felt plugs in all my guns. It's a great tool to have. If you really plan on working, a good quality synthetic grease. I don't know where my other super lube is, but I have other super lubes that I use, and Super Lube's a great company to check out. You can find them all over the place. And then getting away from the repair and the cleaning, a chronograph. You know, a good quality chronograph is really probably one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, for tuning your air gun. Without a chronograph, good luck. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be done. You can tune a PCP air gun without a chronograph, but it's going to make your life a lot more miserable than it needs to be. You know, the FX chronograph or the electronic one that I use for in here, you know, they're readily available. But a good quality chronograph, it really is a must. Other must-haves for mounting scopes, a scope mounting kit. People don't think it's that important, but I'll tell you what, it is when you're trying to sight in a gun, and you figure if your crosshairs are not exactly straight with the gun, let's just say that they're skewed. Let's say they're only skewed 2 degrees. You know, not even something that maybe you even recognize necessarily. Shooting at distance, you figure when you're making a windage adjustment or an elevation adjustment, you're no longer moving your crosshairs straight up and down and straight left and right. You're moving them at an angle. So the further out you are, if you're just adjusting for windage and your scope is off 2 degrees, instead of pulling straight across, you're actually coming up on an incline, which is going to make a difference in impact, right? Because now you're going to raise everything, and then you're going to go back to your elevation. Anyway, a good, you know, scope leveling system. This one's really easy to use. You set the level on the gun, you get the gun level, you lock this part onto the barrel, you make it so it's level. Take this off, mount your scope, mount this on top of the scope, make sure the bubble levels match up, and you're all set. So very important. Another important piece would be a torque wrench that does inch pounds. It is very important, and a lot of people think that, oh, I can just do it by hand. Yeah, maybe. But if you over torque something or under torque something, you're going to have different results. If you under torque something, there is the possibility that the scope over time could shift inside of your scope rings, making the scope not level any longer. It could actually move back and forth as well. Probably not as likely as I make it sound, but it could happen. Over torquing can cause distortion in the scope, can make the scope malfunction, can make it so that it's not adjusting the way that it should. And that absolutely matters. So, you know, a good, you know, torque wrench, a trigger pull gauge. This one is kind of one of those, you know, we're kind of getting towards the end of, do you really need it or not? But having a trigger pull gauge is nice if you're interested in fine-tuning your trigger. You know, if you like a 1.5 pound trigger, it's really nice to have this instead of just guessing. So that's something that's pretty good to have. The other thing that I find myself using, especially when I'm having issues with grouping. Let's say I'm just at 50 yards, I've got a new air gun, and it doesn't seem like no matter what I do with the tune, you know, the pellets are just kind of flying everywhere. These are really cheap to buy, you know, where we all go to buy stuff. But a Boar Scope. Being able to look down your bore, like clearly down your bore, to see what's in there. This one actually hooks to my phone or my tablet. It will record as well. It's got a light on the end. I can push it through the bore, and you know, I can slowly back up, record the whole thing, and then go back and look at it, just see if maybe I have some inconsistencies in my rifling, or you know, if some part of my barrel's damaged, or there's just an extreme buildup of lead that I haven't been able to get out. So I know maybe I got to go back and revisit that. So that's another important piece to have. And last but not least, and actually this is not something that I would put towards the end of things that you need, but a good assortment of bags can really come in handy when you're shooting your air guns. Having good rear bags and, you know, a good front bag are really kind of nice, especially when we're shooting guns that might not necessarily have a bipod mount, or we don't want to shoot off of a bipod, but we want to sight the gun in. We want to make sure that we're as stable as we can be. You know, these kinds of things can come in really handy. And obviously, you know, we can get rifle rests that, you know, Caldwell makes them. Everybody makes them. But I generally use bags. But like I said, it's just a good way to have a solid foundation to be able to shoot, you know, consistently anyway. I really like the cool tack bags. These things are really soft. This is another one. The Protector. These guys are out of Pennsylvania. These things are really nice. And then, like I said, Caldwell. Get an Arken scope. I think they send bags, or you buy the kit, you get a bag. So I've got a bunch of those. So, you know, hopefully that gives you guys some kind of idea of some of the things that, you know, we definitely want to invest in. You know, whether you're, you know, doing air guns or powder burners, it really makes no difference. You still want the same quality stuff. You know, maybe not a chronograph in a powder burner world unless you're reloading. But, you know, outside of that, all the cleaning apparatuses, definitely a good idea to have. Another thing that you might just want to have on hand, let me grab one real quick, is a good fiberglass rod that will fit the size of the air gun that you have. Yes, fiberglass, not metal or crazy. I mean, it can be carbon fiber. But, you know, just in case you get a round jammed in your barrel, you know, you can easily put these down there and just tap on them and knock that out. You can use a dowel rod too, but having a good solid rod to be able to get out, you know, double feeds, or, you know, even if you just get one jammed and you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to unload my gun. That's what I would use. And I think outside of that, I pretty much covered all of it. So if you guys have any other, you know, trains of thought or something that you may recommend as far as something that you utilize, you know, I could go on and on. I mean, you know, if you really wanted to get into it, you could do, you know, polishing compounds to polish your barrels. You know, I mean, the list goes on. So, but either way, those are my ideas. So if you guys got any other ones or any comments or you got any questions, drop them in the comments below. If you're not subscribed, do me a favor, just hit the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt you. I'm not going to bomb you with emails all the time or anything like that. You know, you're going to obviously see my new videos that come out. But outside of that, it certainly helps the channel out. And if you appreciated this video, or you learned something new, or maybe you just appreciate the fact that I did something like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I definitely appreciate your viewership. And, you know, I guess till next time, I'm Moose. This is Airguns of Michigan. Be good to each other. God bless.